Representative Rosemary Brown, and welcome to Legislative Report. We have a lot of information to cover today, and one of the things that we're looking at is the tremendous amount of road work that is happening in Monroe and Pike County. There's a lot of great things happening here, and a lot of renovations to our roads, and a lot of needed repairs. But one of the things we're going to start with is on exit 309 in Marshall's Creek. There is a great project that we've initiated here that we believe is really needed once road work is complete. So this is a beautification project. I'm here with Robin Petrus, the landscape designer with Strausser Nature's Helpers. And Strausser has really developed a great working relationship with myself and the state on this beautification project. So Robin, we have so much road work that we're doing here in Monroe and Pike County. And one of the things when I came into office was I thought all this great road work is happening and it's very much needed. But when people come into the Poconos, when they're coming over the bridge, the Water Gap Bridge, and they're coming in, what do they see? Right now they see a lot of construction, but in the end it will look very nice. But this is one of the first exits, 309 Marshall's Creek. And when you come off this exit, we want it to look beautiful. We want to say welcome to the Poconos. So I approached Strausser, and very, very responsive to the fact of giving back to the community and working with me on a beautification project.
Yes.
So I'm gonna let you talk a little bit about what the plans are and what we think it's going to look like and the time frame of the project as well.
Okay. Representative Brown called and approached us with the idea of a beautification project here at the newly constructed off-ramp. And at Strausser, we have a firm belief in giving back to the community. We believe that the more we can beautify our community, that helps attract people to the area. We are in the landscape design and landscape construction business, and so the more people that are attracted, the more people that are buying homes and coming into our area, that benefits us in the long run. So we like to give back to our community in return. We essentially, for this area here, for the off-ramp, have a design idea of 4 seasons of beauty, utilizing some native plants in the mix as well. So we'll have some flowering trees, some flowering shrubs, along with some perennials, and we will allow them to have a bloom time that varies from the spring all the way up until the fall, with some fall color, as well as some evergreen for winter interest.
Very nice. You know, and this is a big piece of land right here. So this is a project, and one of the things I think that the people watching should know is not only did Strausser Nature's Helpers decide to donate the all the items that you're going to be planting, but also to install that and then to also maintain it.
Correct.
Which is one of the problems I think we often have whenever a beautification project or something is done. You know, the follow through to keep it, and I think that all 3 of those phases are so important so that it does stay
Absolutely,
nice.
absolutely. And at Strausser Nature's Helpers, not only do we do design and installation, we also do the maintenance end of the work as well, and we do appreciate the client who stays with us after the installation so that we know that the integrity of that project is being maintained.
Right.
And the same here, even though we are donating our time, our materials, and our efforts, we also want to know that the integrity of this product is going to be maintained. And so we're more than happy to work with you on the upkeep and donate our services and make sure that it's getting maintained and getting maintained properly.
Right. And Robin, we expect this September. We're a little bit waiting for some of this road work, the bridge work to complete a little bit, but we're expecting September of this year, right?
Yeah, that is the time schedule, September of this year. Hopefully we will be able to break ground, complete the installation within a couple of weeks, which is very beneficial for the plant material as well. Fall is a great time to plant, so it enables the plants to get through that first year sort of without the heat of the summer and get a little bit more established before we might possibly go through a drought and things like that. So September seems to be the time frame.
Right. Well, we're looking forward to it. Can't thank Strausser Nature's Helpers again. I thank you from the state and from the local district that I represent. I think it's going to be a wonderful addition to see Welcome to the Poconos and have our Marshall's Creek area really showcased.
Thank you.
So I think everybody can look forward to a very nice exit 309 in just a few months.
Yes.
So and we'll be back and just take a short break, and we'll be back again with some more information about PennDOT and some of our road projects. Hello, I'm State Representative Rosemary Brown.
And I'm Representative Mike Pfeiffer.
We'd like to invite area residents to our free Senior Citizens Expo on Thursday, September 6th from 10 to 2 in the Dingman Township Fire Hall.
Our second annual Senior Expo gives individuals the opportunity to meet providers and caregivers servicing Pike County. Many elected officials from Pike County will be there to discuss local issues.
For more information or directions, contact our offices. The information is on the screen. We hope to see you there. Welcome back, and I'm here at Route 80 off of 309 exit in Marshalls Creek. I'm with Ron Young, Public Relations Spokesperson for PennDOT District 5. Ron, this is a very busy spot and a very big construction project that has been happening here and is pretty much near completion. So when you look behind us, there's a huge bridge, a replacement bridge that has been done. And one of the reasons why I really felt it was important to do this show on PennDOT and some of the road work happening in my district is because people oftentimes hear little rumors or what's happening, when is it going to be done, and they really don't always know. I know the information's out there, but I figured to try to reinforce it a little bit. Can you fill us in a little bit on this Marshalls Creek Bridge and what is happening, time frame rise, and where we're at?
Sure. Well, we're replacing the old bridge of Route 209 over 80 and redoing the ramps at the interchange here, exit 309. The reason being is it's an old interchange built in the 50s. The bridge was built in 1958. It's reached its lifespan. The old one is structurally deficient, meaning it's got one or more of its integral parts that are deteriorating to the point where we'd probably have to post it with a weight restriction at some point. It's also not high enough to meet the current standards. So the new bridge, as you can see behind us, is a higher structure. It's a wider structure. It meets all the current design standards. So it's also in that respect a safer structure in terms that your higher tractor trailers can get through here now without having to worry about if they're a little higher than say 14, 15 feet hitting the beams on the old bridge.
And that's happened.
It has happened along here, yes.
Much more than people realize.
And you run into other issues there. If a truck hits that, it could damage a beam enough that we would have to possibly close a lane on the bridge, or it could cause problems on the highway. 80 is a very busy road, and we try to,
as we can see,
we try to reduce as much as possible the chances of incidents happening here. And when a truck does hit a bridge on an interstate like 80, it does technically almost shut down the highway until you get the bridge out of there, the truck out of there from being stuck under the bridge.
Going at the speeds that they're going at too.
Yeah, speed is a concern on this section of 80. The safety overall is a concern. The speeds are lower than your typical interstate through the New Jersey line, through the Stroudsburgs. So we do stress safety on this highway as well. So this is one integral part of the whole 80. We've been doing a lot of work on 80 in the past couple of years. Some of that was Stimulus Act money, and some of that is just traditional transportation funding from the federal and state government.
Right. And now this is slotted to be done November?
It'll be finished probably by the end of November this year. And we're looking at probably hitting that target. Weather-wise, if we stay good, that should be doable.
Right.
We did have some 2 months last year that were basically rained out. September and August of last year were hard months, but the contractor's been doing very well here. It's J.D. Ekman Incorporated out of Ackland down in Chester County. It's about an $8 million project, little under that, and it's a good investment in transportation infrastructure in Monroe County.
Yeah, and there's a lot of bridges across the state of Pennsylvania. All of a sudden, we have so many that are structurally deficient.
Correct.
So
this is one of roughly 25% of our bridges in Pennsylvania that are structurally deficient. When this is done, this bridge will be taken off the structurally deficient list. The unfortunate part is almost as quickly as we get one off, another one somewhere is getting put on the list, because we have so many bridges in Pennsylvania, because we have so many waterways and roadways in Pennsylvania. Our roadway network in Pennsylvania is larger than all of New England, New York, and New Jersey combined. So it's a large network that needs to be maintained, and we're doing our best within the current funding constraints to maintain it.
Well, we're very happy to have this project almost complete and fresh and new and safe, as you said. And then on top of that bridge, we're having a beautification project here also when you're going 80 west. So when you're getting off the Marshalls Creek exit, so it'll be a new fresh start here at the Marshalls Creek exit. Okay, Ron, so now we're moving to the next project in Delaware Water Gap. So that project, depending on where you get off and what exit you get off, some people see that project, some people don't. Fill us in a little bit what's happening over there.
Well, we call it Foxtown Hill Road. It's a bridge over Broad Street in Water Gap Borough, and it's also partially in Smithfield Township. And that project is slated to finish in the fall of 2013, next fall. And it's replacing another bridge just off 80. It does function as part of the 80 interchange at Delaware Water Gap. This bridge, though, is real close to the park and ride lot, which a lot of commuters use, and also the Welcome Center, which a lot of tourists coming into the state stop at. So it's almost about $3.4 million to replace that bridge. And when that's all said and done, that bridge, along with the 209 interchange bridge at 80, Route 209, should last about 70 to 100 years, these bridges, when they're said and done. So it's another bridge in Monroe County that's getting replaced.
And I think the numbers that you show have shown how expensive it is to do these bridges, and why the transportation needs for funding for that is so crucial, and why it's so much.
Yeah, there's a very limited funding revenue sources for transportation in Pennsylvania, anywhere in the country. For any other state, they're having similar issues, but we have the highest number of structurally deficient bridges in the country in Pennsylvania, so we're trying to get those numbers down, get those bridges up to current design standards, do what we can with other roads to keep them maintained and keep them in good shape. But unless some kind of significant revenue enhancement comes forward, either through the state or federal level, we're going to be treading water, so to speak, in Pennsylvania to try to maintain the existing network. We won't see many more expansion type projects like the Marshalls Creek bypass, which we're going to talk about later, but those kind of projects are few and far in between right now.
Yeah, it's hard. I think that we're very lucky to have some of these bridges being redone. And you know, you said some of them were built in 1950, so how the technology and the construction has changed. And now when you do them now, they last 70 to 100 years. But, you know, they're probably done much better than they were in the past, so.
That's correct. And some bridges that were built long ago are still in good shape, but they may not even be structurally deficient, meaning they don't have something wrong with them, but they may be what we call functionally obsolete, which means they don't meet current standards. They may not be wide enough for traffic today, or they may not be tall enough to handle traffic the taller vehicles that we have today. Back in the 30s to 50s, vehicles were a lot different back then, and the speeds were a lot slower too.
Absolutely. And in this area, Monroe and Pike County, the amount of volume that came through this area was not what it was.
And that's the other portion of it. This part of Pennsylvania has been the fastest growing portion for about a decade or two now, because of all the influx of residents from other areas of the state or neighboring states. So it is a need to address congestion as well.
Right. As we're standing here on Route 80, it's just amazing to see how fast the cars are going. Not only how fast, but how many there are. And we know that.
And Route 82 is kind of got very tight interchanges. You know, got several that are just a mile apart, which if we were to build this highway today, we probably wouldn't have them so close together. But it is also...
And that's a need too.
Yeah.
We always say that. That's a need, Route 80 to update. But again, the funding for that type of truly enhancement project right now is really
it's not available.
Tough.
We would love to redo every interchange on Interstate 80 and every bridge along the corridor in Monroe County, but it's just way too expensive to do. It'd be in the hundreds of millions of dollars, and
I know it's on our wish list.
Because of safety. It's on PennDOT's wish list too, but we gotta make do with what we have.
Try to keep it safe
and keep everything now safe and clear before we try to redo things and expand things.
Right. Well, great, Ron. We're on to the next project now.
Okay.
One of the biggest projects of Monroe County has been the bypass project, the Marshalls Creek bypass project. And that project was initiated because of all the growth we've had in the area to give traffic relief. Now, originally, that project was a different project than what actually the finalized project will be. And I know you have some of that history. So fill the viewers in a little bit on when that started, what the project was supposed to be.
Well, when our design team first started designing the project, it was originally intended to be a 4-lane limited access bypass of the village of Marshalls Creek. Anyone who travels through here at a peak time knows the backups are significant trying to get through the village. To get through, a lot of people go through north of here up to different resorts or different the recreation area or wherever, Pike County, the Performing Arts Center, Fernwood, all those places. And it's difficult, and there's a lot of commuter traffic too, coming and going from 80. So that was the plan, to try to bypass the village. We've been hearing about it for 30, 40 years up here. People wanted that done. Unfortunately, we hit real tight times in the mid-2000s. We're still in those tight times funding-wise, so we had to stop designing the project as it was and scale it back a little. We eliminated the extra lane on the bypass itself. We also had to eliminate what was being called the 402 connector at the northern end, which the locals now are calling the little stretch that was built into the second phase. They're calling it the road to nowhere, unfortunately. But we didn't have the money to build a $50 to $80 million bypass. We had to scale it back to about $19 million, and still getting the bypass. You're still going to be able to get by the village, but it's just not the original footprint. And also at the southern end, they determined that a roundabout would be functional there to work properly, and it's much different than Jersey traffic circles, which everybody remembers from that were built in the 50s and 60s and that are very difficult to navigate through. Roundabouts work a little differently. Everybody coming into the roundabout has to yield, and we've been putting them in the past few years in different places in Pennsylvania. They've been very successful. They slow traffic down. They reduce the number of crashes because it's not an intersection. People are coming around the roundabout and they yield to each other when they're entering. Traffic goes roughly 18 to 25 miles per hour through a roundabout, but it does keep traffic flowing a little better and reduces congestion. And also a signalized intersection, traffic stops and then backs up. Here you at least have every so often a car getting in, moving around, people when there's a gap to get in.
And they've worked fairly well in other parts of the state.
They have worked very well. Other states, Maryland has used them very significantly, very heavy in the last decade. I got to tour a whole corridor down in Maryland recently where it just functions with large trucks, buses, school buses, cars, you name it, and they all function and get through in a quicker fashion than they would if it was signalized, and also a safer fashion because you don't have those. It really eliminates almost those deadly T-bone type intersections.
Intersections are tough.
Yes, correct. So
majority of accidents are the
so the bypass is getting towards the tail end. We're looking at opening the actual bypass portion probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And then there's some tie-in work at the roundabout with Seven Bridge Road, which will not be 209 anymore. When we open that 209, will officially be the bypass. And then later down the line, we're working with you and the businesses to see what we can do. There's a bridge right there just north of where the roundabout is on Seven Bridge Road that needs to be replaced. It'll be replaced whether we did the bypass or not because that bridge is in pretty bad shape. It's structurally deficient. It was on our radar to get replaced. We added it into this project, and that has to be replaced under a full closure due to the bridge type, how the work's going to be done, and also certain environmental restrictions. So we did have a meeting with you. We appreciate you bringing to our attention the business community's concerns. We've gone to our permitting agencies to see what we can do to maybe still have to close it for a few months, but maybe push it back to a later date to accommodate the businesses who said August, which is our original time frame, August 1st to October 31st. They told us August through Labor Day is their busiest time of year with the tourism back to school. So we are taking that into consideration and we are trying to do something. We'll keep you posted on that.
Yeah, that's an important part. And then the other part, which is the intersection of Marshall's Creek, right at the main intersection, will have one lane open from June through August. So there will be a flow. We'll have the new bypass section that you can take to avoid the intersection at Marshall's Creek. You can still go straight past Jay Park and through the intersection, all through this construction, June through August.
There is another bridge that needs to be rehabbed right in the village on existing 209 at the intersection, just adjacent to the intersection with 402 and Business 209. So that will be rehabbed, and the intersection is going to be widened there too to provide better stacking for turns and turn signals on the new traffic signals put in with turning devices on them, left turn arrows. So that will be much better flow through that intersection as well. And the original plan was to close that down as well, but now we're going to keep it open, like you said, with one lane, so people still can come and go from Jay Park, and also when that's underway for the most part until we do that other bridge. people
Right.
be able to get through all
And
the
that
way
was,
to
I
the
think, a
bypass.
good decision, you know, to let people go through there during the high traffic months during tourism. I know we pushed in the businesses, we pushed, and PennDOT was very responsive, which was good. I think there's a new mentality, really, with PennDOT and the state to really look when they're doing bridge work and road work to say, how can we make sure that we aren't, you know, being unintended consequences with the work and hurting businesses because of the economy. So I think the response was very good with PennDOT when we came to the group and said, you know, we have a problem, we need to keep this open. So that change was a very good change. And I know the bridge also, as you mentioned, if we're slated for August, I think hopefully we'll have some good results, hopefully with that as well, in response to the businesses. So between November and most of November, most projects with the bypass and the bridge will be done, but we know we're pushing a little bit into the spring just as an adjustment to those two ends of Marshall's Creek intersection due to business needs and things. But I think we'll be complete, and it'll be really a nice freshness to this whole area within the 309 exit Marshall's Creek and then all the way down into Marshall's Creek going on to Business 209. So PennDOT's done a great job, and the district is looking forward to some freshness with all of our roads. And I know we're going to keep pushing for more. So
Well, everybody does. That's
we have
fine.
a couple
That's part
more
of the
on.
process.
We have a couple more on the plate that we're working on, and those will hopefully we'll come back with another show and talk about those as well. Ron, thank you very much for informing the viewers a little bit about what's happening in the time frame. And we're going to head up to Pike County with James May, who's actually public relations for District 4 PennDOT, and review some of the projects up that way as well. So thank you again for your time today.
You're very welcome, and we always appreciate the support you give the PennDOT.
Thank you. And we're going to take a short break, and I'll be right back with a legislative report. Hello, I'm State Representative Rosemary Brown.
And I'm Representative Mike Pfeiffer.
We'd like to invite area residents to our free Senior Citizens Expo on Thursday, September 6th from 10 to 2 in the Dingman Township Fire Hall.
Our second annual Senior Expo gives individuals the opportunity to meet providers and caregivers servicing Pike County. Many elected officials from Pike County will be there to discuss local issues.
For more information or directions, contact our offices. The information is on the screen. We hope to see you there. Welcome back, and now we're in a different part of my district, Pike County. And earlier we were in Monroe County, now we're in Pike County, looking at some road work that is happening with PennDOT, a very big project, State Route 2001.
This is a very large project, and welcome to Pike County. I know you spend a lot of time up here.
I do.
From what I understand, you were just at a town hall here. When was it, Monday that you were
on
up
Monday.
here? And
Yes.
you've been up here quite a bit, I know. And we're here in front of State Route 2001, and this is a $15.5 million project that we're doing right here in the county. And so it's a big one.
It is a big project, and that road is a really much needed improvement because it is a tight road. It's utilized a lot from people coming from Monroe all the way up into Pike, up into Milford.
It is a very heavy traffic road for this area, a lot of cars out there. And what we were finding was that there were so many twists and turns and dips and bumps on this road that it really became a safety issue. And a lot of the trees were covering the road, and in the wintertime especially, there was a lot of ice that was developing on the road. So it was really a safety improvement project that we're doing. And so we have some folks out here. They've been out here for a long time working on this project. And like I said, it's $15.5 million, and it's going well, going very well.
It is going well, and I think when you drive this now, you start to see the progress with it, and you start to see, you know, things coming to completion and moving on to the next stages. And I know it's very detailed, each and every stage of this project, and we have Carla with us today, who's
Carla is
come on
actually the
over,
expert
Carla.
on this project, so I'll let her take it from here. But she's been doing
Well,
some.
stay with us. We might have
We
even
will
more
stay,
for you to
and
talk with us
I'll
about.
stay, but we'll let Carla jump in here, and maybe
All
you
right.
can answer some more questions for
Now,
us.
Carla, you are the project manager.
Yes.
So you deal with this day in and day out, and have dealt with this day in and day out.
Yes.
For how many years so far?
We started late 2009, and we're looking to complete this thing later on in August.
Right.
So yeah, we're almost at a good 2.5 years at this point in time, construction-wise.
Right. Well, it looks very good. And I know, like I said, you're starting to see progress, and I think the drivers
Oh,
can see
yes.
that, and they can see some completion happening,
Yes,
which is nice.
yes.
Now, what are the next stages after this?
Well, the next section that we have coming up is 402. As James was saying before, we had some dealings with some people on Monday, and That's the next tag-on piece from Little Egypt Road going out past Thiel Drive at this point. And basically it's going to be the same type of like reconstruction of the roadway, as James said before. We have curves, vertical and horizontal, that weave people through the area here, and it's a safety project. Trying to straighten some things out to make it a little bit safer, make visibility better, give the people shoulders. They do not have shoulders in the areas that are existing right now. So that's part of the project that we're doing here, is widening the road to do the shoulders and to open it up. The other thing that allows is there's a lot of heavy forest in here. So that opens up the road for better sunlight and such in the wintertime, so you don't have ice pockets in there. And it'll take the runoff, keep the runoff off the roadway, keep it in the drainage ditches where it belongs, and make it safer for everybody.
Right, and we saw a lot of that last year with drainage and how difficult with the weather, and the road systems and the damage that we had from a lot of that. So it's important that the drainage really is correctly directed, and that you don't have any issues with that down the road, and have road work that we don't need to do.
Oh, correct, yes.
Save money on that end.
Sure, because everything was designed, years ago, and development has occurred in this area, a lot of it. So you have water, an increased flow because of developments. You also have the lakes that were pretty much topped off. There was basically nowhere for the water to go except for alongside the road, and in some areas would build up and flood in some spots.
Right. Now that project now when would you expect that to be? I know it's difficult because with weather and different things that we come upon, when would you expect that completion of that section?
If this job makes it out like we're expecting at the end of the year or early next year, you're probably looking at another 2.5 year time frame from the time of when it starts,
Okay. And then after that, is there another piece of it?
Would be the last piece of the puzzle, this one.
Okay.
Which is section 405, which would take off from Thiel Drive in around that area out to 739. And that would complete 2001 for Pike County.
It's definitely in stages.
Yes.
And that probably, again, would be another 2.5 years you would expect, probably.
Yes.
Same type of thing, safety, widening.
Oh, sure, because
forestry.
2001 is basically all the same as far as the existing road goes.
Right. It is. It's all the way up, all the way through.
Yes, and it hasn't been changed. So basically you had 2 10-foot lanes. We're increasing now to 2 11-foot lanes with 8-foot shoulders on both sides. So you're taking a 20-foot road and making it approximately 37 feet wide.
It's a lot of work.
Oh, yes.
Well, listen, I very much appreciate you taking the time to just communicate the future projects and what's happening and some sort of an expected time frame for people, because this is a heavily traveled road, and just some of the work happening in Pike County.
And let me say that on behalf of the Department of Transportation, we really appreciate your work. You have been very, very actively involved in many of these projects. Your office has been phenomenal to work with. Every time we called down there, they've been very responsive. So
they'll be happy to hear that too.
And they do a very, very good job. Many of the folks down there, Linda and others, have been very, very responsive, and we've really appreciated your work with this as well too. So thank you on behalf of our department.
Thank you for the time.
Thanks.
Thank you, James. Thank you, Carla.
No problem. Take care.
Well, and that's it for today on Legislative Report. Please, if you have any questions regarding any state issues or anything on this show today, especially even with PennDOT Roadwork, please feel free to contact me at my office, and the information will be provided on the screen. Thank you.